Truly, I feel something really strange, guys. Okay, I don't feel right. I don't know why that's the case, but when I'm looking to XRP's charts, it's making me feel very weird. Okay, like it's telling me something bad could be incoming, and it ties to the USDT.dominance chart. So could we predict something looming around the corner? Perhaps a black swan event. Let us try to investigate to see. From the Crypto Nexus chat, well, look at this, guys. Look what's happening here. So Paolo, right, the CEO of Tether, just tweeted out Bitcoin Black Friday. I think today or yesterday, okay? Now, I think it was today though. But once upon a time on November 26th, he said this as well. Black Friday sale of Bitcoin, right? When was that? What happened around that date period? November 26th of 2021. Literally the exact top, right? We went into this long correction, guys. Now, I know if we do dump, I don't think it'll be like this at all. I think it's going to be completely different. I think it's going to be quick. I think it's going to be fast. But something that backs up this idea that we're probably going to head a lot lower is this chart. Okay, now I don't know if you guys been watching, looking at these crazy charts, guys, but I have every day, non-stop, every second. Okay, look at what I found very weird here. This is XRP versus Bitcoin pairing. Okay, what do you guys notice? We had the large liquidation candle, okay, on October 10th. From then on, we consolidated in this range. Guess what's been happening now, though? Well, we're in an uptrend, right? But you know what's so weird about this uptrend? Is this XRP is not moving up. When XRP versus Bitcoin pairing is basically going on an uptrend, right? XRP versus USD isn't. Therefore, it tells us that Bitcoin has been dying. Okay, well, which tells us that XRP has been holding insanely strong against Bitcoin, and a lot of altcoins have been as well. I don't think I've ever seen this before, guys. Usually altcoins die every time Bitcoin dumps. I've actually seen it once before, okay, and that was we called that this was literally the bottom of the, I think it was during the FTX Black Swan events, guys, where Bitcoin created a bottom, a new bottom, but altcoins created a higher low. Okay, that was the only time I ever seen this, guys. So, but let's go to our USDT.dominance chart because I have major developments. You guys remember on the 5-day we talked about this a lot, right? And we called for bad news bears literally right there as soon as we confirmed the candle and held support on top of the 5-day moving average. We said we're within the storm. Under it, below it, we're out of the storm, right? Sunshine and rainbows. Guess what we're doing right now, guys? This was the 5-day, okay? Now we have traveled finally to the 3-day. And it's breaking out. Not only the 3-day, but the 2-day as well. Major, right? Look how it held resistance multiple times before. This is the first time it's about to break out, guys. Right? But I actually called for this move a long time ago, right? I literally have the video. Let me see if I have the video, because I saved these videos on my notepad, right? My predictions. I'm going to try to find the video if I can, because I did mention here that that this chart, guys, right? That this chart, if we're within the storm, that this chart will probably go like this and then die, right? That's why XRP hasn't been dying, because that means they're price protecting XRP for the time Bitcoin actually dies like this, right? Then XRP will take its fall, but it's not gonna die too hard, right? XRP will probably just go back to $2, while Bitcoin is all the way back at like 80K or something, right? Or like $90,000. Let me see if I can find the video. Well, you look at this, guys, right? I think I posted this like 2 weeks ago. Where was XRP at? XRP was at $2.57. Bitcoin was at $110,000, right? But we talked about this a long time ago too. This is the only link I found, guys, that was in my notepad. Okay, but the path that I drew here, I think this path is going to take. Okay, which is why now we understand why XRP isn't dumping as heavily, or altcoins generally, because they're saving that moment for when Bitcoin actually takes the final fall. Then alts will unleash that last leg lower, right? Possibly. Let me play this video and see what I said here, because I don't really remember too much. I believe this chart will go higher like this. At some point in time, it's going to top out. 2026 occurs, and when we do skyrocket, guys, or when this chart falls crazy and cryptos are skyrocketing, I think it's going to happen extremely fast. Okay, because they're building all this liquidity for the taking at some point in time. Wow. So that was just amazing extra VOD, right? Clear, simple, as 1, 2, 3, which means this for the USDT, that dominant chart like this still, right? We still have some ways to go. For Bitcoin, that would mean, I think, up to there, right? The previous all-time high retest, right? And then we'll fly. So that's why I've been wondering why XRP has been holding insanely strong, guys. Look at this. Let's go to the 5-minute chart, right? Just look at this. What is this? It dumps, recovers, dumps, recovers, dumps, recovers, dump. Literally happening forever now, right? And then look at this. It pumps, dumps, right? Price protects itself, pumps again. That was ETF news. Dumps because Bitcoin dumped. Very fascinating stuff, guys. Okay, Magic Coin about to fall off a cliff. Well, this is different for sure. This is Bitcoin versus gold, guys, and the trend line sets back to 2013, by the way. More than a decade. It has finally been breached. Okay? Support, 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 support. All throughout. If it broke out earlier this year out of it, held resistance, and now it's finally following through with the trend of possibly a reversal downwards, right? So I know for a fact the cycle hasn't topped, right? We're not at the end of the bull market, but I think we will go lower before we head higher. All right, guys. Credible Crypto says his opinion on this matter. He actually drew out some interesting path that Bitcoin could take, which takes us back to its previous all-time high, then it skyrockets. That's the path that I'm thinking, right? Because I said this a long time ago. So this is fascinating to see someone else having the same perspective as me, and Credible Crypto is a beautiful analyst here, right? So let's watch this.
Again, this is the very bearish case, and this is the one with the cycle top being in, and this is the one that I find to be the least likely, but let's just play devil's advocate and say if we were to get something like that, what we would probably see, and this is kind of what we saw in Bitcoin at 6K before our breakdown at 3K in 2018 for those that remember, but some sort of a corrective structure here, consolidating above this area of support, getting weaker and weaker with each bounce, and then melting through. And in that case, what would still happen, what we'd still expect to happen, is during this period of sideways chop on Bitcoin, we'd expect money to distribute out of Bitcoin, to flow out of Bitcoin and into altcoins. Keep in mind, if Bitcoin is topping here, right, again, very unlikely in my opinion, but just to play devil's advocate, if it is topping here, then the idea is that money is getting pulled out of Bitcoin. This would be then a distribution top, and during distribution tops, the big boys are taking profits. They're selling Bitcoin. So again, what typically happens when Bitcoin distributes, and we've seen this in prior cycles, is that when Bitcoin distributes, money then flows to altcoins as profits are taken on Bitcoin and pushed into little coins that can pump a lot easier, that can make a lot more money in a much shorter time span. And so we get an alt season. So even if we're in the most bearish scenario that one can imagine, which is that this is a top and the final fifth wave is complete and we're breaking down, we would still expect a massive alt season to occur.
Oh, so interesting, guys. He believes that I didn't know, but he says that if we are topping, we'll still experience an alt season, right? I don't think it will take this path at all. I think we'll take this path. I don't know where he talks about this, right? But he drew a line that goes back to its previous all-time high, right? For a retest, I believe. I can't even tell because it's too blurry. I think that is, right? Yeah. And then we recover V-shaped out of there. That's so crazy. I drew the same exact thing, right? Literally. And I did not see this video at all. So this is fascinating, guys. That's what I think will happen, right? In the coming months and stuff like that. Now, you know, if we do go to like the previous all-time high, guys, everyone will call for the bear market, and everyone's gonna be, you know, running through the streets, right, screaming like, what's happening? Because every indicator will be killed and everything, guys. But we know the game plan. You know what to do. Those who entered Bitcoin 6 to 12 months ago have a cost basis near $94,000. Personally, I do not think the bear cycle is confirmed unless we lose that level. I would rather wait than jump to conclusions. You guys see? People are waiting for confirmations, guys, of the bear market, right? But we're not in a bear market even if Bitcoin heads to like 60, 70K. You guys realize or no? Right? We're not. Simply not. This is what you call a full-blown cycle. Okay? This is a full-blown cycle, guys. So we pump, right? Come back to retest and then go pump again like that. Right? This, I think, is the year of QE. Right? Some crazy nasty pump which takes it vertical. Right? And the blow off top before the collapse occurs finally. Right? So those are my thoughts and opinions of what's happening in this crazy market that everyone is confused about, guys. This isn't financial advice at the end of the day, but thus far we have been on the right side of the call. We're still within the storm until we top out on the USDT dominance chart and bottom out on Bitcoin chart. Now, financial advice, let's wait for more chaos to ensue. But it is so face amazing. See ya.